right, so today's lesson is 1.5 A and B. We're going to be solving proportions, which means we're going to be solving equations that have fractions on both sides of the equations. It's not as bad as it sounds. So go ahead and copy down your warm-up problems. I've actually given you the answers this time. So if you did not get the answers that are on the board, then go back and figure out what you did wrong. Okay, there's your notebook for your table of contents and your objective. So go ahead and take care of that business and then come on back. So we have some vocabulary here. So we've got something called a proportion, which is two fractions that are equal to each other. So we're going to have an equation where both sides involve a fraction. So go ahead and copy down the steps into your notes. Cross multiplying, distributing, such and such, and then we'll do some examples and try to make some sense of all that. All right, so this is called a proportion. So I have a fraction on each side of the equation. So let's look at this guy first. I'm looking at the one on the left here. So you may have learned this in a previous grade, not really sure. But the way that we solve proportions is that we cross multiply. So you're going to multiply the denominator and the numerator of this one. So that's going to give me 3y. And you're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator of this one, which will give me 28. And then you have to solve for y. So divide both sides by 3. So my final answer is y equals 28/3. All right, same thing here. You're going to cross multiply the numerators and the denominators. So that's going to give me 63 equals 6x. And you can divide both sides by 6. And that will give me 63 over 6, and that, I believe, can be reduced to 21 over 2. So you could use your calculator for that. All right, pause the video. Go ahead and try those on your own. Go ahead and check your work and see if you did it correctly. All right, so in a little bit different situation right here. So let's see what the big red box reveals. So the big secret when you have something like this is to put parentheses around two-term expressions. So what they mean by two-term expressions is this guy right here. Oops, didn't want to do that. This guy right here has two things in it. This x plus 2, I got x and a plus 2. It's got two terms. So you're going to put parentheses around that, and the reason I do that is because when I multiply that 3 to the numerator, the 3 has to get multiplied to both the x and the 2. And then this is going to be similar, so that's going to give me 4x. All right, now I have to distribute. So I'm going to have to multiply 3 times x and 3 times 2, which will give me 3x plus 6 equals 4x. And this is old hat stuff. You guys should be really good at this by now. So first thing I'm going to do is subtract 6 from both sides. Oops, wait, I don't want to write it there because the minus 6 doesn't have an x in it. I want to keep those guys separate. So I'm going to do that, and then these will cancel. That leaves me 3x equals 4x minus 6. Then when I subtract 4x from both sides. I'm getting kind of squishy down here, but I think I can make it. All right, that's going to give me negative 1x equals negative 6 because those 4 x's will cancel. And then if I divide both sides by negative 1, I'm going to have x is equal to positive 6. Final answer. All right, let's try one of these together, and then I want you to try the other one on your own. So first thing I'm going to do is put parentheses around these guys, because there's two terms there. Then I'm going to cross multiply. So 2 times y plus 3 equals 15y. So distributing is going to give me 2y plus 6 equals 15y. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 6 both sides. Notice I didn't write it under the 15y because they're not like terms. That is going to leave me 2y equals 15y minus 6. And then because that's a positive 15y on the right, I'm going to have to subtract 15y from both sides. Now this time I really am going to have to use more room. So 2y minus 15y is going to give me negative 13y equals, those are going to cancel, negative 6. And then when I divide both sides, let me come over here and rewrite what I've got so far. Negative 13y equals negative 6. So I'm going to now divide both sides by negative 13. So y is going to be equal to positive 6/13. Because those two negatives are going to make a positive. All right, go ahead and try that next one on your own and then come on back and see if you got it correct. All right, go ahead and check your answer. Make sure you did all of your distributing and make sure that you remember to put the parentheses there. That's the most important part. Okay, it's different stuff now. Same concept, except now I have to put parentheses on 2 sides of the equation. No big deal, we can handle that. All right, so when I cross multiply, I'm going to have 3 times x plus 4 and 5 equals 5 times x minus 2. So again, you can write it. If you want to put the number out in front, just for the distributing property, it makes it easier. All right, so 3 times x is going to give me 3x, and 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. 5 times x is going to give me 5x, and 5 times negative 2 is going to give me negative 10. Okay, when I subtract 12 from both sides, starting to write smaller here, 3x equals 5x minus 22. Then I have to subtract 5x from both sides. So minus 5x minus 5x is going to give me negative 2x equals negative 22. Then divide both sides by negative 2. And I get x equals positive 11. All right, I know it's kind of early, but I think you can handle it on your own. Go ahead and try the next one, but let's start out by putting parentheses around both of our items that have 2 terms in them. So go ahead and give it a shot. All right, go ahead and check your answer. You should have gotten x equals negative 2 over 6 or reduced negative 1 over 3. Make sure you did all your steps correctly, and hopefully you're doing okay with that. Seems to be an easier thing to do. Okay, so we're going into the second part of the lesson. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it here, and we'll list this portion as its own lesson because it's a little bit more involved. So see you next time.